to make a decision that's going to affect you. I have a diversified background. Yes, I'm young, but I plan on implementing a lot of new things to the court system. You know, I have a lot of excitement coming through the bench, and that's what I will bring through the bench. I also plan on bringing a lot of common sense, which is something we definitely need on the bench. Thank you.
I would direct the audience's attention and the candidates if you have a brochure. This question deals with some information that's on the very back page of the brochure. Basically details a policy in Dade County where if one is accused of a domestic violence or drunk driving crime, you may be required to submit to PBT tests 7 days a week before you have been convicted of any crime whatsoever. These tests cost $5.50, which comes to $37.50 a week for somebody who's been charged with a crime. This is a multi-part question for the candidates. I will give you a minute and a half if you need it to answer all of the parts. The parts go as follows. Do you agree with this policy being imposed on people who, by law, are presumed innocent as a condition of their pretrial release on bond? If you don't agree with the policy, do you pledge to work to end it if elected? And given that it does cost $37.50 a week to take these tests, do you favor the privatization of such testing or the administration of these tests by, say, a nonprofit organization? And if the person is acquitted of these crimes, do you favor a refund?
Well, first, as I've indicated, my experience has been in civil litigation, and I have had experience in the criminal arena, but as a civil procedure professor I had that could teach civil procedure but couldn't practice law, mine is in civil litigation where you actually practice. We talked about the domestic violence area at one of the last forums, and there's a lot of discussion in different procedures regarding domestic violence. There's a number of things that we've talked about trying to do in that specific area that I'm further researching and enlightening myself about. One of those is certain restrictions, contact with victims, et cetera, et cetera. There's, in all of these criminal areas, there's a weighing, a balance of what society needs and what the victim needs, and also what the accused party needs in terms of restrictions and requirements. Certainly, the judge should have the discretion to order certain restrictions, including PBT tests or any test that's necessary given the circumstances. In terms of specific amounts here and prices, I'll admit I wasn't aware of what the amount was for each of these PBT tests. But again, the importance is the balance. Thank you.
The candidates need to repeat the part of the question. I'm happy to do so.
No, you don't have to repeat the question for me. Folks, as a candidate, you'll see people, and this is the first time I ever ran for any sort of office. People running for office kind of sit back and think, what do the people out there want to hear? Not necessarily answer your question. I'm going to answer the question. I'm also going to share something else with you. If you read that, the back page of that, it's biased the way it's written. I love Eddie Zabrinsky. He's a friend, he's a buddy, but he wrote that in a certain way for you to come to a certain conclusion. A district court judge during an arraignment, if there's been alcohol involved in the past, if the person has 2 prior drunk driving convictions, if there's a domestic violence situation where the alcohol is involved, sure, there's nothing wrong with saying, I want you to take a daily PBT test. Because you know what? The majority of people in this world aren't criminals. The majority of people in this world get involved with the criminal justice system because of alcohol, because of drugs, because of mental health problems. We need to help those people. Why not start helping them right away? Yes, could someone have to take preliminary breath tests that was ultimately acquitted of the crime? And that is somehow not fair? I guess that could happen. But I think I'd err on the side of caution. Person's got an alcohol problem. I want him to take their preliminary breath tests. Thank you.
District judges at arraignment have a lot of tools they can use, and one of them, as I mentioned, is daily PBT. For most first-time drinking driving offenses, it's more of look at it as an act of negligence than it is a criminal act. And so rarely is it used at that stage, because if nobody gets a drinking problem, it was an act of negligence. I made a poor choice. You don't see that person again. But you have a repeat offender, someone who violates 2 or 3 times. Well, we have safety to be concerned about, and then to impose a requirement to have daily PBTs for the $5.50 a day it is, seems to be legit. Okay, we're interested in our safety. That vehicle becomes a weapon, and usually if it's 2 or 3 times, there's a problem. That's why, and it's a good way to address it. Okay, and it's nice to have that as a tool that district judge can use. And if they don't comply, then most likely they're going to wind up in jail. The other thing is how to handle the cost of that. I work with the indigent. Okay, I'm in favor of community service. If you can't pay the $37.50, then maybe you can do something in our community. Because there are a lot of people in our community are locked up because they're poor. They can't make the bond. Okay, but here, why don't we look to community service, and why don't privatize it? And save us money and take that burden off the sheriff, they may be welcome to that also. Thank you.
Since I've been the district court judge, I've handled about 600 cases. In those 600 cases, I have ordered daily PBTs about 3 times. Let me tell you why that is. Yes, I think about the cost. Okay, that's a piece of it. But what's more important is that daily PBTs are easier to cheat. If you know you have to get up at 7 in the morning and go down to the police station and blow in a PBT, you're going to stop drinking in time for you to be clean by the time you get there. Okay, it does not take very long to figure out exactly how to cheat that system. So what I have done instead, and what I began doing in my court, and which many of the other judges are doing now too, is random alcohol testing a minimum of 2 times per month. It's cheaper, you can't cheat it, and it gives us the same protection that we need, because again, we have a situation where we need to keep the public safe, and when we're doing the balancing tests that happen in MCR 6.106, which is the rule that we follow with respect to pretrial release, that's one of the factors that we need to consider. So, do I believe in daily PBTs in a severe case? Yes, sometimes you have to do it. But I think random PBTs are the answer, because they can't be cheated, because they're cheaper, and because they keep us safe.
This is a good question. Based on the 14 years that I've handled juvenile court cases, which are very similar, by the way, to the adult system, because believe it or not, there's only one law we use in Michigan, and that's the Michigan Compiled Laws. So the same law we use in juvenile court and in district court. Looking at the question that he's asking about a person arrested on a drunk driving and/or domestic violence case. Well, if a person is arrested on drunk driving and domestic violence, you can be assured that charges will be filed against that person, and he or she can wind up in jail to await their arraignment. So, if there is an alcohol-related offense, I have no objection to PBT, but I agree with Judge Barney that random, to me, would be something that's a little more usable based on my experience, because when I put juveniles on probation in the juvenile court, we used to catch them randomly, and then we catch them using alcohol or using drugs. In addition, every fact situation is different. That's the one thing we have as